How's it going? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella. And if I sound funny, that's because I can't hear out of my right ear thanks to congested nasal cavities. Yummy. 'Tis the season, right? And I probably have COVID. So fun times. I've been fairly sick over the last 2 weeks, and that's why you haven't seen too much of this channel recently. But I did want to get one more video out this October, and this is it. Another horror movies to watch or avoid episode, and we got a fuck ton of really cool things to check out here and share with you. So get your popcorn, get a soda, or a non-carbonated beverage of your choosing, I guess, if you're trying to cut back on the bloating, because, you know, treat time and candy and everything's going to be hell on your diet. And yeah, everyone pray for Classy Lonnie Metal, because I know he's starting a new diet again soon, and those are harder to stick to than quitting smoking and vaping, so I hear. So yeah, shout out to Lonnie. Hope you get through that diet and are able to hit whatever goal you're trying to hit, my friend. Anyways, enough dicking around. Let's get to the very first movie in this horror films to watch or avoid episode. And it is, in my opinion, a really good film and basically a classic for Halloween time. So you should probably own this one. This is Glary. It's Haunt. It is a Halloween haunt type of event film. A group of friends show up at this kind of sketchy location to get a experience like no other. And some of the haunts and scare actors inside here get a little too real and a little too close to home, because some of these guys in here are really out to cause some terror and get that adrenaline pumping, because they're gonna get you. They're coming to get you. They're coming to cut you up. They're not fucking around on this one. And the group of friends have to figure out a way to survive this haunted attraction and a bit of a maze. So yeah, the gore in here is pretty cool. The masks in this film are pretty cool. If you like haunted attractions and Halloween events, this is definitely something to check out. Nothing supernatural is in this. It's all like slasher type of stuff. Honestly, a really good film to put on for Halloween. So this gets a solid 9 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think of Haunt in the comment section below. Actually, one last thing before I put this away. If you have Hellfest, this and Hellfest back to back would be pretty sick. Maybe even throw it on and have a triple feature with Dark Ride as well. Also kind of a haunted attraction with a slasher in it. Would be pretty cool to have all three of those films back to back, in my opinion. All right, moving right along to something that's not as good and honestly wasn't really worth the money. This is Bad Candy. There is the main character there, the clown. He's in a lot of the shorts that are in this. And yes, this is an anthology type of Halloween horror film. So 6 terrifying tales. Honestly, not that terrifying. And this guy, this is probably the coolest short in there. This creepy creature vampire thing that eats a bunch of people. That short was probably the best one. The only other cool thing about this, I don't know if you can read that or not. Yeah, it's got Corey Taylor from Slipknot in it as this kind of radio host talking about all the stories that are in this, because people are sending in stories from their experience or like old wives' tales and shit. But yeah, they're sending in stories to him. He's talking about them and narrating it. Honestly, I wouldn't worry about tracking this thing down. If you somehow manage to find this in the $5 bin at Walmart, sure, pick it up. But I wouldn't go searching for this on Amazon or eBay and trying to pay the $15 to $20 to $25 for it. And as you can see by that 18 there, that this is not a Region 1 DVD that normally I would need. This is a Region 2, I believe. And it's apparently PAL format too. So I thought that it wouldn't work at all on the multi-region DVD player that I have, because I had to break down and eventually get a multi-region DVD player, because some of the stuff that we've been getting you can't get in Region 1 or is really expensive to try and find in Region 1. So we just end up getting a cheap multi-region DVD player. And I thought the player would play just NTSC format. If you're a collector, you know what I'm talking about. But this is a PAL or PAL format, so I was really skeptical whether this would play, but luckily it did. Unfortunately, the anthology is not that great. It has one, maybe two good tales in there, and then the rest is your typical kind of B-movie indie stuff that you might see at a Toronto International Film Festival. So yeah, pick it up if you can for $5. If not, don't worry about it. You're not missing out on much. I'm sure Corey Taylor got a nice paycheck out of it. All right, the next one though, oh, this is gold. I really hope they do a sequel or a prequel to this movie. There has to be more Psycho Goreman films. This can't be the only one. This was fantastic. It was gory. It was hilarious. I love the Psycho Goreman character. His practical effects were pretty good. Some of the transformations were pretty creepy, especially when he gives the enemies a warrior's death. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. How just incredibly like morbid that sequence is. Pretty cool. So yes, definitely get yourself a copy of Psycho Goreman if you can. This is another 9 out of 10 film for me. There's some kind of cheesy parts that I'm not the biggest fan of. The little girl in this says some pretty cringe ass things, but also says some kind of funny stuff. They have a scene where she's playing in a band and they do this one song. It's cringe, but also it's funny. It's hard to really measure where I land on the scale there, but it's also pretty amusing. But the gore effects and his backstory and everything that revolves around this character on screen, definitely worth the money. So whatever you have to pay to get a copy of Psycho Goreman, do it and thank me later. Trying to breeze through this because there's 11 of these things. The next one is one that I also had to track down for Region 2 because there's not a Region 1 of this, at least not that I could find. I had to get this off of eBay, and this is The Deep House. We first tried to track this thing down when it came out. There was no real way. I think we had to find it on a streaming site. If you know me, you know I hate doing that. If I'm going to watch something and I think it's good, you know I want the creator and the team to get the money for it. Because if they put the time and effort, I feel like they should be paid for their time and effort, especially if it's good quality content. This is a supernatural haunted house film, but the twist on this is that it's underwater. These couple go on a vacation in this remote European location. This guy takes them out to this part in this lake, and about 50 or so meters under the water is the deep house, and these scuba divers decide to film everything they're doing in there, and stuff just starts going crazy slowly but surely. Everything up until a certain point is mostly creepy and kind of, oh, you know, spooky haunted house stuff, you know, paranormal investigators type of thing. And then when the shit starts popping off, it really starts popping off and starts getting really creepy. I feel like they could have expanded more on what happened to this. They could have definitely do a sequel or a prequel to this. It's really good. The ending will have you like, what the hell? Really? You're either gonna love what they do at the ending or you're not, because sometimes horror movies end the way this ends, and some people don't like that type of ending, and some people do if you're twisted and really in for the bad guys who win. So yeah, definitely check this out if you haven't seen it yet or hasn't come across your radar. The Deep House is definitely something you want to check out if you're into the paranormal haunted house type of films, or even just like underwater stuff, because there's some interesting underwater stuff there. So yeah, this one is probably a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. Really, really good in my opinion, and kind of a hidden gem. So yeah, The Deep House. Check that shit out if you can. And get a copy. Next, you're either gonna love or hate this because of one reason, maybe two reasons. One, Nicolas Cage. You either love him or hate him. I happen to love him. I used to hate him and think he was really stupid and terrible. And all of a sudden, something in my brain just went click, and now I love him, and I totally get it, and I understand his madness, and I enjoy it, and I love whenever he rages out, and the more rage Cage, the better. The only thing is, in this movie, he doesn't say a damn word. And what I'm talking about is the not Five Nights at Freddy's film. No, not the Banana Splits movie. I'm talking about Willies Wonderland. This is kind of funny, kind of B-movie-ish, but you kind of have to have a sweet tooth for this type of film. You kind of might have to be a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, and you'll probably have to be a fan of Nicolas Cage. So add those 3 or 4 points together, and if you hit all those check marks, then you might enjoy this film. Otherwise, I could see a lot of people not liking it because the main character doesn't say a damn word, and it's all up to these cringe teenagers to carry the plot along and give a reason for other things to happen in this film besides Nicolas Cage being a silent security guard and kind of janitor for cleaning up Willy's Wonderland to make his car get paid for because the town sets out a trap for it. And yeah, anywho, this is pretty good. I wish Nicolas Cage had some lines of dialogue in it, but for what he does, it's still pretty cool, and how he dismembers all of the animatronics in this is badass. So I give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's good, but not great. Moving right along to one of my favorite new series, and I still need to get the kind of like 3 or 4 shorts anthology for this. This is Terrifier 1 and 2. So there we go, Terrifier 1. There's the front and back. And Terrifier 2. Art the Clown has easily made my top 10 slashers of all time. He might even be in my top 5 if I really think about it. I'm in fact even being Art the Clown for Halloween. Got the suit, got the horn, got a crowbar. So yeah, Terrifier is like 9 out of 10. Both of these films 9 out of 10 for me. I like both of them for different reasons. The huge gory kill in the first one is legendary by now, and the gory bedroom scene with the mutilation and the bleach and the pouring salt in the wounds and all that gory shit is you know, has been making people barf and vomit. It's the same thing, but you know, maybe a little more liquid and more chunky depending on which one you consider barf and which one you consider vomit. What is with me right now? Anyways, Terrifier 2 is excellent. Can't wait for the third one. They recently released this poster for it. Looks awesome. Friggin' Art the Clown with a Santa Claus bib that he's probably gonna wipe some mashed potatoes and Christmas cookies on. Hilarious. Can't wait to see it. Horror slashers in the snow kind of seems to be a thing that a lot of people want recently. Jason in the snow, Ghostface in the snow, a Scream winter setting would be sweet. And it looks like we might get an Art the Clown Terrifier setting in the winter. So a classic Christmas slasher. Oh, it's gonna be glorious. Friggin' Christmas of 2024. We're gonna be slashing through the snow and guffawing all the way. Anyways, I am a huge super fan of Terrifier, Art the Clown. Damon Leone came up with a really sick character, and I really need to get All Hallows Eve. Probably won't get All Hallows Eve 2 because it doesn't have art in it. I'm a fan of Damon Leone, but mostly his work with Art the Clown. So yeah, I'm probably just going to get All Hallows Eve 1. But let me know what you think of Terrifier. Let me know what you think of Art the Clown. Is he up on there of your favorite slashers of all time now? Because amazing. I just love the character. He's brutal. It brings back the old silent slasher, and it's a little bit more fast-paced and a little less hiding behind bushes watching Laurie Strode cross the road. Yeah, so anyways, this is definitely the new Halloween movie for me and series. Can't wait for more Terrifier in the future. Do yourself a favor and pick up all of the Terrifier movies. Next is kind of a controversial one. A lot of teens and preteens and maybe young adults would probably really love this because it's like very modern Zoomer, younger millennial type of focused slasher film and AI. A lot of people didn't really like the Child's Play remake where they made Chucky voiced by Mark Hamill, and he's like an evil AI robot. I did enjoy it. It was a neat take, and Mark Hamill did an alright job with the voice of Chucky. Anyways, what I'm babbling on about is Megan. This was a really, really good Blumhouse film, and Blumhouse we trust. It was really fun to see it in the theaters. Cool that there's an unrated version on here, even though you don't quite see too much different. There's some like extended ear stretching going on, and there's a little bit more blood with the paper cutter knife machete thing, and that's about it. Maybe a little bit more with the dog being killed. Yeah, you know, trigger warning, a dog gets killed in this movie, if you care about that kind of stuff. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. The humor in it was good. The creepiness in it was good. There was even a touching moment between the little girl in this and the Megan doll, talking about her parents and the car crash and everything. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of a variety of emotions for this film. It's very younger generation oriented too, so I can't wait for Megan 2.0 to come out, and there's even rumors of possibly a Chucky versus Megan thing being released. I don't know whether it's gonna be a crossover in the show or Megan's gonna pop up for a second, or if they're actually gonna do a Megan versus Chucky film. I'd watch it. I'm a shill for anything related to Child's Play and Chucky, so this having a crossover with it would be a bonus for me. But yeah, I really like this. Probably 7.5 out of 10 for me. Definitely a watch as opposed to an avoid. Apparently there's a black phone too, because it says from the producers of Annabelle and the Black Phone. It'll be interesting to see what they do with a second black phone. But yeah, I recommend it. Really good, fun watch. Alright, 3 more. The next one we had to pick up because, again, Nicolas Cage, he plays an excellent Dracula. And he plays it in Renfield with Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult plays a pretty humorous, very interesting kind of emo Renfield character. I'm kind of all about it. There's a little bit of cringy kind of self-help, like TikTok zoomery type of feel to some of it. But other than that, it was really, really good. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of gore. The creature effects for Renfield's actual Dracula part, where he gets kind of gross and slimy and parts of his brain and face are melted off at some point. They did a good job of grossing me out, that's for sure. Really fun. And Nicholas's quirkiness and caginess come right through the Dracula character. But also there's a scene where they kind of do a Bela Lugosi thing where it's black and white and they show Renfield meeting Dracula, and it's kind of a neat little homage there. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. I could have really done without her character in it though. I know she thinks she's funny, and I know people either like it or hate it. I can't stand her type of goofy, odd, sarcastic type of comedy. I don't know what it is. Very awkward. But everything with Nicolas Cage in it was great. Most of the stuff with Nicholas Hoult in it was great. Obviously I had to pick it up on DVD because we're picking up pretty much everything we can by Nicolas Cage. This is the Dracula Sucks edition too, which is kind of funny. Let me know what you thought of this. Did you see this? I think it's a pretty cool movie to throw on Halloween around October times. I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is a very controversial film. You either enjoyed this enough to get it and kind of appreciate where they went with this, or you absolutely hated it because of how it ends. And what I'm talking about is Halloween Ends. The ending is very divisive, especially considering there's a clause that John Carpenter has, or Malika Cod, or someone has about what you can and can't do with this character. So I don't know if that went like beyond the clause, but I don't know how you come back from what happens at the end of this. Most of this movie revolves around this tormented kid. One of the main characters in here ends up accidentally killing this kid while they're babysitting them because they're hiding in a closet and accidentally come out really quickly because it's ajar, and the kid flies over the banister and the parents come home seconds after this happens, of course. Yeah, it's a big thing and the town hates this guy. Somehow he and Laurie Strode's granddaughter, Allison, get together and start becoming a thing because they're both outcasts from the town because he's a accidental killer and she's a survivor of Michael Myers. He eventually snaps because he's being tormented by the town and decides to go find Michael Myers in the sewers, take up the killing for him, and inspire Michael Myers to come out again and kind of poke the bear with a stick and kind of agitate him to come on out and start killing again one last time. It's pretty good. It kind of delves into the psyche of how someone who's tortured and has some mental health issues can be pushed to the edge and eventually start snapping and going and trying to get revenge and a killing spree, because they're pissed off and tortured and have no other way out, and see this as a way to regain control in their life and get some power back in their life and some meaning, I guess. But besides the kind of serial killer psyche dive that this does, a lot of the Michael Myers stuff is very sparse and few between, and then the way it ends, people are going to either be like, well, that's okay, I guess, or they're gonna hate it. I'm okay, I guess, with the ending. I'm not a big fan of the ending. Honestly, they should have gone a completely different direction with Halloween Ends. It would be interesting to somehow see or hear what the original vision for Halloween Ends was supposed to be before they did this weird twist to it. But yeah, this was definitely not really a Michael Myers focused Halloween film, and because of that it kind of suffers. You never really see Michael Myers' true potential. He survives a bunch of weapons and stuff being hit and stabbed and whatever, and at the end of the first one, that's about it. I really feel like you could really show his true power by just have him mow through like a crowd of people, just smashing them and slapping them away and stabbing them and tossing them off, because he's got supernatural strength, right, and supernatural resilience and healing, and he can survive being shot by a full revolver full of bullets. You really just aren't doing him a full service by getting him to only stalk and kill babysitters. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's a 5 out of 10 for me, only because I'm feeling generous and it's Halloween and I like the Halloween series and I like Michael Myers. But honestly, this is probably one of the least good Halloween films in my opinion. Alright, we are finally at the last film. This was probably one of the better films since the very first film in the series, and I'm talking about Scream 6. Right? V and a 1 is a 6? Yeah. Scream 6. This was probably the best one since the very first Scream, in my opinion. It really put in a few twists in there. It really amped up some of the kills, the brutality, the whodunit factor is in there. It kind of touches on how people deal with trauma and murder and violence in their lives, and kind of how they cope. So yeah, it's a very interesting look. I feel like if you're a fan of Scream and you didn't check out the last two films before this, if you fell off after the third one, you're like, fuck Scream, it's getting ridiculous because the third one was terrible, definitely come back and try Scream 5 and 6. At least make your way through 5 if you're not a big fan to get to 6, because it's pretty good. I really enjoyed this installment. The only thing I didn't like about this, spoilers by the way, is the dad cop. He goes from being a believable character when he's the cop and you don't know the reveal about him, but then once the reveal happens, his acting and his character do like this 180. His acting goes really bad. He kind of over exaggerates things. He becomes like this mustache twirling caricature of a villain. No one says what he says in real life. No one would ever say those things and be serious about it, and he's really weird, and I don't like what he turns into character wise at the end of the film, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's like a 48-year-old man acting like an 18-year-old man, and a really cringe one at that. So yeah, I don't know. The cop didn't work for me at the end. There's just too many unbelievable injuries that a couple of people got over fairly quickly, and a couple of people survived that definitely should not have survived. Someone can be killed by one stab wound, let alone however many this person at the end got. They just did it to continue the core four, whatever the stupid tagline for their buddy team was. Yeah, no. But other than that, great film. 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed this Scream. Can't wait to see how they top off this trilogy with Scream 7? Yeah, Scream 7. And again, apparently it's going to be a cold, possibly wintry snowy Scream, Ghostface in the snow. Can't wait to see it. Anywho, that's it. That's for this entire stack of horror movies to watch or avoid. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't sound too weird. Again, I can only hear out of one ear because of this damn cold. That's it. Hopefully I'll have this out before Halloween, and in which case, hope you guys have a great Halloween. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, because there's a ton of you that keep coming back to this channel that aren't subscribed, and if you like my content, why not just subscribe? Because I come up with cool stuff at least 2 to 3 times a month, usually, if there's not crazy events or colds going on. So yeah. Again, thanks for watching. Cheers. For glory, for the rebellion, Slammerella out.